We ready, Skylar? All right. Skylar is now muting all participants, and you'll hear an alert that our meeting is now recording. Thank you, Skylar. And hello, fellow Rotarians. My name is Reed Miller, and I am your president of the Rotary Club of Portland. Welcome to our weekly membership meeting. I will now ask that you all join me in reciting the four-way test. Number one, is it the truth? Number two, is it fair to all concerned? Number three, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number four, will it be beneficial to all concerned? That is our Rotary four-way test. I encourage you all to live by that, to do business by that, and to remember that and implement it into your daily lives. At this time, I ask any Rotarians who have invited a guest to please raise your hand so that we can introduce your guest to the club. If you are a visiting Rotarian who came on your own, please raise your hand and introduce yourself, or let us know you're here in the chat box. Carol, do we have any guests? Looks like we've got one. Go ahead, Britton. Introduce yourself to the club.
Yeah, so I joined a couple weeks ago. I think, Reed, you were out that day. But I've been part of the Rotary Club of Portland probably like 9 years ago when I moved out here from Vermont. About a year, but I've been on the Portland Generations Rotary as the Rotary Foundation Chair, past president some years back as well. And just again, wanted to sort of stay close to you guys and see what you're up to and just stay connected. I really enjoyed that year being part of the downtown club and to see what's been going on. So appreciate it.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for joining us today, Britton. Glad to have you back. And you may have noticed a few things have changed around here, but we are still the same club. We're still doing the same things in the community out there, and we are looking forward to getting back in person as soon as possible. So glad to have you back with us, and welcome to any guests that may be showing up late.
I don't see any yet, Reed.
All right, thanks, Carol. And of course, thank you to all of our members for joining us here today for another Zoom meeting. We appreciate you making our meeting a priority today. Well, I walked outside this morning. I took a deep breath. You know what I smelled? Probably the same thing you smelled. Yep. Smells like election day. Every November, we get the opportunity to vote. All year, we nitpick about this or that. That could be better or should be changed. The ironic part is that a lot of your peers that you hear complain about one thing or another are the people that elect not to vote, or didn't get around to it, or didn't think that their vote would count. I'm not concerned with who or what you vote for or against. However, as a service club, I want to encourage each of you to put on your Rotary hats, to read the fine print, and to vote to make a difference. Be a Rotarian and do the right thing. Then make sure you encourage your friends, your family, and your peers to vote. From what I've read in the history books, voting used to be a normal thing. It was just something that everybody did. Now let's get back there. My stupid generation is infatuated with hiding behind social media and trying to encourage their peers to feel the same way that they do. It's not what it's all about. We all came from different places and have different perspectives. We should celebrate that. We shouldn't suppress it. We don't need everybody to agree with our opinions. What we need is the ability to have an open dialogue and to share different ideas and be open to new perspectives. You won't make a difference by getting into an argument, but you could make a difference by filling out a ballot. Be the Rotarian that you are and do the right thing. All right. Happy November, Rotarians. Now that we have officially reached November, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge all of the Rotarians who were born in the month of November. Thank you, Skylar. Please take note and be sure to wish a very happy birthday to all of your fellow Rotarians who have a birthday this month. All righty, thank you, Skylar. All right, fellow Rotarians, please help me to give a warm Rotary welcome to our club's president-elect, Maria Schell. Welcome, Maria, who has a quick message about our annual trust drive.
Thank you so much, Reed. And November also means the start of our annual trust drive. So I just wanted to say, well, first off, from Scott, happy birthday to Reed. I see Ken, I see Will, all of these November birthdays. Reed, is today your actual birthday?
I was born on election day, but today is not my birthday. It is the 7th.
Okay, well, 5 days in advance. That means you get 5 more days of birthday wishes from all of us. But for those of you who are unfamiliar a little bit with our process here in the Rotary Club of Portland, November 1st through the end of January, we hold our annual trust drive. And what we are doing here, this is our one time a year where we are looking to our Rotarians to ask them to step up and give back to our club to enable all of our committees to do the wonderful work that they do. One of the great things about this club is we're not going to ask you, we're not going to do a big paddle raise. We're not going to make you come to a gala or a fundraiser. We're going to do it the old fashioned way of asking you personally, asking and following up with you to make your decisions about how much you would like to contribute this year to support the work of the Rotary Club. And really this year, I loved your phrase, Reed. It actually connects to something that I've really been thinking a lot about over the past now 20 months. But, you know, you mentioned just a second ago, you said, be a Rotarian and step up. I think this year, what you're going to hear from me about the Rotary Trust Drive is defining for yourself, what does it mean when you say that we are Rotarians? And I've thought a lot about what that means to me. And that means that we step up. We don't let anything, including a pandemic, slow us down. I've read and looked at things that Rotarians have done after world wars, after all these other amazing, crazy things that have happened. We have always come back stronger. And I met with Scott Burns last week in Portland, and I'm downtown and I'm sad. I'm sad by what it looks like. I'm sad by how really there isn't that vitality and excitement in downtown. And if there is a group of people who are going to come together to help rebuild our community and our city, that needs to be Rotarians. So I've heard and listened to a lot of the committees meeting, domestic violence, homelessness solutions. You're all doing great work. So for this year, for the next couple of months, you're going to hear about the Trust Drive. Consider what your philanthropic support could be, and think about what we need to be doing as Rotarians to help rebuild our city, rebuild Portland. And I know we can do it. And I already say a huge thank you to some folks who found their way to the Give page without even being asked. That's Rotarians. They already did it last week before they even knew I was going to come today to share with you. So if you have any questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me, but you'll be getting an email from Skylar and I starting today. And we'd love for you to consider what your support could be to support the Rotary Charitable Trust. Thank you so much. Back to you, Reed.
Thank you so much, Maria. I appreciate that message. And as somebody that's been there in the past, I can speak for Maria that this is not an easy task. It's a ton of work running the Trust Drive, and I appreciate all of the hard work that Maria has put in already and continues to put in. So help all of us make Maria's job easy, and make your donations early, get that out of the way so that we aren't making phone calls throughout the rest of the year. So thank you so much for all your hard work on that, Maria. And now I want to move over to, I'd like to take a moment to share a video with you all that was passed along via Al Jubitz and Leslie Brunker. They passed along this world peace video. Skylar, would you please drop the link for that video in the chat? And as she does that, a big thank you to Al and to Leslie and the rest of the Peace Builders Committee for all of the very important work that you're out there doing behind the scenes. I want to encourage you all to spend a few minutes to watch this video outlining the powerful impact that Rotarians can contribute towards world peace. The link can also be found in this last Friday's spokes. And again, thank you so much to Leslie for bringing this to my attention, for passing this along. I spent the time to watch the video and it was certainly well worth it. You guys will all feel very good about the work that Rotary is doing and getting a better understanding for how you can have an impact on world peace, something I think we could all agree on. All right, I would now like to welcome Rotarian Danielle Banks, who will be presenting this week's reflection. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you, President Reed. Well, my reflection today is in honor of the work our Homeless Solutions Committee members are doing to help the houseless in our community. Last Tuesday, we heard from Shelterbox USA President Carrie Murray on how essential shelter really is. And we know from Nelson Mandela that freedom is meaningless if people cannot put food in their stomachs, if they have no shelter, if illiteracy and disease continue to dog them. But did you know that 7 out of 10 Americans are one paycheck away from being homeless? The poverty of being unwanted, unloved, uncared for is the greatest poverty of all, according to Mother Teresa. She recommends that we must start in our own homes to remedy this kind of poverty. So, when life gets stressful and hard, try to remember the life you complain about is only someone else's dream. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Danielle. Wonderful words. I appreciate that so much. I think we should all keep that in perspective and remind ourselves of that throughout our day and throughout our week. So thank you very much, Danielle. And to the rest of you, if you are interested in giving a reflection in the future, you can reach out to Susan, who is in charge of scheduling our reflections. Her email is to Navy Captains, that's TWO Navy Captains @gmail.com, and will be dropped into the chat. Thank you, Skylar, for dropping that into the chat. Okay, it's your favorite time of the week. Now it's time for our breakout room with a few of your fellow Rotarians. When you enter the breakout room, please introduce yourselves to the others in your group. As always, you're more than welcome to chat openly with your fellow Rotarians. But if you need a topic of discussion for your breakout room, as always, related to my introduction, my suggestion would be, drum roll, discuss your favorite seasonal smells. Okay, send us into our breakout room, Skylar. Thank you. And we'll see you all back here in about 12 minutes. Nice. Mute. Welcome back, Rotarians. I hope you all enjoyed a great conversation in your breakout rooms and enjoyed the opportunity to interact with your fellow Rotarians. Now, please welcome Rotarian Mike Lester as your chair of the day. Mike.
Well, good afternoon, Rotarians. Our speaker today, Scott Kerman, is the executive director of the Blanchet House of Hospitality, a 70-year-old nonprofit organization dedicated to providing aid, support, and community to people in need. Blanchet House has experienced a significant increase in demand for its daily hot meals and clean clothing services due to the economic strain caused by the pandemic. Scott is shepherding the historic organization through great change by innovating to meet the need for the services during these unpredictable times. Blanchet House launched a sack lunch program to offer portable meals, a care kit program to offer hygiene items, and a reusable water bottle program to offer water relief during the summer's heat waves. These initiatives born out of COVID crisis are fueled by the generosity of donors at home. More Than Meals, Blanchet's House, unique transitional housing programs located in downtown Portland and a farm in Yamhill County are lifting people out of addiction and homeless. Scott received a bachelor's degree in political science from Santa Clara University, an MA in English from Portland State University, and a JD from the University of Virginia School of Law. Let's give a warm welcome to Scott Kerman. Scott, I think you need to unmute yourself.
I need to unmute myself. Okay, I didn't know if I could control that. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Rotarians, for inviting me to speak with you today. I'm very pleased to be with you, and I look forward to telling you a little bit more about Blanchet House and what we're doing in our community. And I believe there's some times for questions at the end, and I look forward to having a dialogue with you about an issue that I know is of great importance to everyone here. So as Mike said, I am the executive director of the Blanchet House of Hospitality. And I'm trying to get there it goes. The Blanchet House was founded in 1952. A lot of people don't realize that we are turning 70 years old next year. We're very excited about our 70th anniversary celebration. Part of that celebration will include a 3-month special exhibit at the Oregon Historical Society. And so we're busy collecting a lot of archive materials and other artifacts that we can display as part of that exhibit. You're seeing a photo of the original building located at the corner of Northwest 4th and Northwest Gleason, famous for having lines of people outside for meals. This is a view of our new building, which is built right next door to the old one. And so this building is at the corner of Northwest 3rd and Northwest Gleason. We still have a line of individuals, but this is a photo of our COVID service. And so we have people outside all the time now because we can't invite them inside, unfortunately. We serve hot meals 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Monday through Saturdays. The only days that we're closed are Sundays. We're also closed Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Day and New Year's Day. There are other meals available in the community on those holidays, and it gives our residents who help work in our meal program a day off to enjoy the holiday and sometimes to join with friends and family. We also hand out a great deal of clothing and essential items, living supplies to people in Old Town. And we have a restorative shelter program at this location. We can house, when we're full, up to 45 men in this program. It's a long-term program. Our program for housing runs from 8 to 18 months. We also have a residential program at Blanchet Farm. Blanchet Farm is located in Carlton, Oregon, just outside Newburgh. This is a one-of-a-kind program. In fact, there are only maybe 3 other programs like it in the country. It's a long-term restorative housing program that caters to men who are dealing with addiction. Most of the men in our program are struggling with substance abuse, but we've had other kinds of addicts go through the program before. We've had porn addicts and video game addicts and a number of other kinds of addiction. What's unique about Blanchet Farm is the opportunity for the men in the program to work with our therapeutic animals. We have pigs, we have 2 sows and a boar, which means occasionally we also have piglets. And you can see a photo of one of our residents with a piglet. We also have goats and chickens. We have ducks, geese, dogs. We have a beekeeping program. So you see a photo of one of our residents learning the art and science of beekeeping. And because we have bees now, we also have Blanchet Farm honey. We harvested our first batch of honey this spring. And this is really an exciting opportunity for our residents to really gain a lot of confidence and pride because working with bees is something that takes a lot of courage. I, for one, am not going to get in the suit. So, but we're really excited to have that. We also have a wood shop at the farm. It's a professional grade wood shop, and residents can work with volunteers on a lot of different woodworking projects. We make furniture, cheese boards, cutting boards, and other knickknacks in the wood shop. The farm is about 62 acres, and We have, of course, gardens and orchards and flower gardens and vegetable gardens. And, so for one, it's a beautiful location. It's remote and idyllic. And so that's a wonderful setting for people to be in. But, I think it's the opportunity. What's different about this program from other kinds of recovery and addiction recovery and restoration programs is the ability to work with your hands, to actually be involved in working with our animals. I spoke to a resident recently who said in addition to alcohol, his demon was anger, a lot of anger issues. But he recognized pretty quickly at the farm that if he approached our animals, especially the pigs, with all of that anger, they would respond negatively to that. They wouldn't want to engage with him. And so that clicked for him, that if he wanted to work with the animals, he had to really channel that anger into calm. He had to be peaceful in his approach to them. And that clicked for him that was exactly how people in his life were responding to him, that he was pushing away his friends and his family with all of that anger. And so he realized, he told me, that if he was going to connect with his friends and family, if he was going to have positive relationships with them, then he had to do exactly what he was doing in order to connect with our animals, that he had to tamp all of that anger down and approach his friends and family with a more open and peaceful demeanor. So this is the experience that our men have working with our animals at the farm, and it can really change lives. Blanchet House is able to do what it does because of donations. We do not receive any public funding. And so our budget, which will be $2.4 million next year, is wholly supported by independent donations that we receive from individuals, corporate matching and grants, as well as grants from private foundations. But we also can do what we do because about 90% of the food that we serve is donated from local businesses, restaurants, wholesalers, and event spaces in Portland. Last year, we collected over 650,000 pounds of food. So this is really good, unexpired food that would otherwise likely go to the landfill. We can collect that food at our downtown location. We can serve it to our residents and our meal guests. And then we can collect our unused food and leftovers and other food waste, and we send that back to Blanchet Farm, where it's turned into slop and feed for our animals. And so this is a way that we can really help the environment. It's a very sustainable program. And so we're really proud of this element of the work that we do. And a lot of that is thanks to the Blanchet Farm program. So this is an image of our Old Town cafe space. This is where we used to send meals. It's also the image that's behind me here on Zoom. And when we served indoors, we served restaurant style. You can see that this is a bright, airy space with a lot of windows, a lot of natural light, high ceilings, and we would serve this food restaurant style. So we invite people to come in and have a seat. Tables for four help to breed community. People feel less lonely than they might at long picnic tables. And then volunteers serve plated dishes to our meal guests. We also have volunteers that bus the tables. And so this is to emphasize that our meal guests are our guests. We are, after all, a house of hospitality. So we don't want our guests to do any work. We don't have any expectation that they do anything in exchange for their meal. They come in, sit down, enjoy a plate of food. They're welcome to rotate through the line as many times as they would like during our hour of service. Of course, during the pandemic, we're not able to invite people inside for meals anymore. So we had to invent literally overnight on March 16th to March 17th of 2020, a way to serve meals to go. We've now been doing this for 19 months, and so we've got it down to a science. We serve hot meals through one door, and then through another door, we serve beverages. We serve coffee every morning. In the fall and winter, as the weather turns rainy and nasty, we'll serve coffee at lunch and dinner as well. And we try to vary the beverages that we serve along with coffee. We serve water, milk, in the summer, a lot of lemonade and iced tea, anything that we can do to make the service a little bit special. The people that we're serving are suffering tremendously right now. While we're proud of the service that we've been doing during COVID, to-go style, we know it is not nearly what it was like when we can invite people inside. We're still trying to serve with a great deal of compassion and connection. Our morning volunteers, especially our coffee volunteers, are regulars. Some of them are with us every morning during the week. So they get to know people's names and how they want their coffee. And so it's nice when someone comes up to our window for service, our volunteer can say, "Hi, Dave, it's good to see you this morning. I hope you had a good night. Here's your coffee with cream." So you can imagine how that will make the people we serve feel a little bit more recognized, a little bit more special. Also, during the summer, we handed out a lot of water bottles. It was a real challenge, especially during our devastating heat waves this summer and the summer before, to really just keep people hydrated and healthy. So that was a big program, and we were grateful for the Rotary to donate water bottles for that use. In addition, as Mike noted, we launched a sack lunch program and a care kit program. We were looking for ways that people could support Blanchet House without necessarily coming on site. We know a lot of our volunteers, due to the pandemic, weren't in a position to come on site and volunteer anymore. The sack lunch program has proven to be very, very popular, especially because the people who put together these sack lunches, especially children, will decorate the sack lunches with art and inspirational sayings. Again, this is just another way for the people we serve to feel recognized. The people we serve often complain about feeling invisible, feeling like nobody sees them or cares about them. So when they get a sack lunch with artwork and inspirational sayings on them, it communicates to them that there are people out there who do see them and who do care about them. The care kits have been really important, and we have directions on our website as to how to put together care kits. The need for hygiene items and other supplies is very extreme for the people that we serve, and so that we can hand out these bags with necessary items, socks, clean underwear, ponchos during the rainy season, emergency blankets, toothpaste and toothbrushes. It means a great deal to the people that we're serving. One of the things we're proud of for our service in the last 19 months is that we've provided meals for a lot of agencies as well. We are really fortunate to have this 33,000 square foot building, which has allowed us to keep volunteers working on site. We'll have 30 to 40 volunteers who come through our building every day to support our services. This has allowed us to really up our meal service program. And so we provided meals for the COVID emergency camps that Portland hosted. We provided meals for the cooling shelters and the warming shelters that Multnomah County operates, as well as the warming shelter, the emergency winter shelter that TPI operated in the old Greyhound station just down the street. We also provide meals every week for Human Solutions and their women's shelters, and to join for one of their day centers. It's something that we feel privileged to be able to do. We often do not charge for these meals. Again, we're able to support other agencies because we receive so much donated food. So a little bit by the numbers, in 2020, we served over 500,000 meals. That was a 60% increase over 2019. This year to date, we've served over 250,000 meals, and we expect November and December to be very busy. Through both of our programs, we've given 150 people shelter. These are long-term shelter programs, and so our residents are with us anywhere from 8 to 18 months. And you can see again some of the other statistics in terms of the pounds of food that we received, the sack lunches that we handed out, and the pounds of clothing and other items that we received. And again, all of this is possible because of the donations from people who support our community. Again, next year's budget will be about $2.4 million. That's for all three of our programs, our Blanchet Farm program, our residential program in Old Town, and our meal service program. And with that, I look forward to any questions people might have.
Thank you so much, Scott. So if any of you have any questions for Scott, could you please either raise your hand or put something in the chat and I will call on you. Mike.
Hi, Scott. Great presentation.
Thank
What
you,
do you
Mike.
see as your biggest challenges moving forward post or during or post COVID?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Mike. And you know, I'm gonna say there are two challenges. I think the first is just sustaining the level of services that we're providing. I think in an atmosphere where we appreciate there's a lot of frustration and even fatigue in the community when it comes to the issue of homelessness. Look, we've received so much support over the last 19 months. It's just been incredible. But I also understand, because I talk to supporters and I talk to donors and I talk to people in the community, that there's a sense that, you know, nothing's getting better. And I think people are really frustrated when they drive around Portland and they see not just the homeless camps, but also the graffiti and the trash and everything else. And so I think we recognize that it's reasonable for people to feel that way. And so our challenge is making sure that we're communicating about the difference we are making and the importance of really sustaining this effort, because COVID isn't over, the pandemic isn't over. And even when we can maybe sort of ring the bell and say we're done with COVID, we know that the tail of this experience is going to be very long for the people we serve. In addition, I think one of the biggest challenges we're facing is the mental and behavioral health crisis that we're seeing in our community and certainly in Old Town. We look forward to the time that we can bring people back inside for meals, but the thing is that COVID is not necessarily what's preventing us from doing that right now. It's the mental and behavioral health challenges and crisis that we're experiencing at Blanchet House. The last 19 months has taken a tremendous toll on the mental health of the people we serve and the addiction in terms of the people that we're serving. And so we're seeing exacerbated levels of paranoia, hallucinations, delusional behavior, catatonic behavior, disassociation. This makes it more challenging to serve people who are in crisis, and sometimes their crisis can make it difficult for other people to serve. And that's why I'm very excited today. If you've been watching the news over the past 24 hours, the city and the county have come together to make additional investment towards the homeless crisis, and specifically for behavioral and mental health needs in Old Town. And I'm particularly gratified because I've been working on an innovative proposal for the last 6 months. And we presented this proposal to the county a couple of weeks ago. And this proposal is part of the funding that the county and the city is making. And what this initiative entails is collaborative shared mental health and behavioral health services, teams of individuals who will actually be stationed at and rotate among the different services in Old Town and the greater downtown district. One of the things that we've added to our capacity in the last year has been peer support services. A peer support specialist is someone with lived experience with homelessness and often addiction, and they can go through training and be certified as peer mentors. They can provide amazing services to people on the street because they bring so much experience and authenticity to their work. And we've seen how these peer support personnel have really helped our services by intervening with people so that their crisis does not reach a level that our services are disrupted. And so that we don't have to call Clean and Safe or Portland Street Response or 911 for assistance. And so the plan that I put together would be to add teams of people like these peer support specialists, but have them move from place to place over the course of a single day, because we share a lot of the same clients. And so this team would be at Blanchet House, let's say, for our breakfast service. And then after breakfast, maybe they move to TPI or Rosehaven or Sisters of the Road and provide service there, moving around the community over the course of the day, providing some continuity of care and relationship building opportunities for the people we serve. So I know that this is going to be funded to some extent. At the press conference yesterday, Chair Kafori mentioned the proposal and Blanchet House in particular, and Dan Ryan did so again this morning at the briefing for the county commissioner. So I'm just waiting to hear some details, and I think this is going to make a real difference in meeting the behavioral health needs of the people that we serve.
Thanks, Scott. We have lots of questions, actually, and might not have time to get to all of them, but first Danielle, and then Danielle, and then Leslie.
I'll make mine quick. Hi, Scott, again.
Hi, Danielle.
Where do we buy your honey? I'm getting low and I'd like to shop.
Yeah, so yes, we get that question a lot. Unfortunately, the first honey harvest is not a very large harvest. It's going to take a while for the bees to really start producing. So right now we're reserving the honey that we have jarred for incentives. And one of those incentives we'll do during the Willamette Week Give Guide. So Blanchet House is one of the nonprofits participating in Give Guide. So here's a plug. And if you follow us on Facebook or you go to our website, you can find out when the honey will be available to people who support us through Give Guide. But we're looking forward to the next harvest, and hopefully we'll have jars that we can make available for sale. We also will from time to time sell our wood product. The COVID has really put a dent in our ability to produce items in our wood shop. Things are starting to ramp up. But for us, the wood shop is not about selling products. It's not really about producing revenue. It's not we're not running residents through there all day and night to produce items. But our residents, when we are able to sell items, they do take a lot of pride from that. So that's what's important to us.
Thank you. Leslie.
Thank you.
And then Scott Burns.
Okay. Hi. Thank you, Scott. I have been a volunteer at Blanchet House over the years, and it's always been a very positive experience. So thank you for that. So I saw in your photographs and in your storytelling, lots of containers and, paper and you were talking about bottled water and all that stuff. So what happens to all of that? Does it get recycled? How do you track that and make sure that stuff isn't just trashed on the street?
Yeah, no, Leslie, that's a really important question. Unfortunately, because everything is being served to go, everything has to have a package, right? And so, yes, we've gone from almost a zero food waste and zero waste facility to a facility that is producing some waste now because of COVID. And there's really no way for us to collect those items on the street. I mean, we provide trash cans, and we have a dumpster out in the back of our facility, and we make sure to patrol our block for trash and try to keep it clean. But yeah, I mean, that's just unfortunate. We've tried to scale down our packaging to the barest minimum. We've learned a lot since the earliest days of the pandemic, but yeah, until we can bring people back inside, it's just an unfortunate consequence of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Scott Burns.
Yeah, Carol.
Scott, congratulations on everything. So one
Thank
Scott,
you.
another Scott here. You have a bachelor's degree, master's degree, and a law degree, but you chose this this profession. You must have a heart of gold. So tell us how you
Well, I thank you for saying that. Yeah, I don't know if there are any other degree collectors in the community here, but I also have a bachelor's of arts in English from Washington State University that I collected as an adult. I always wanted to be a lawyer. And I went to law school. I went to a great law school at Virginia. And it was during that experience that I began to think maybe I didn't want to be a lawyer. What I really thought I wanted to do was teach. And so after law school, I joined a program called Teach for America. And some of you might have heard of Teach for America. I was actually the first person to join Teach for America out of law school. But this was a million years ago. Teach for America was only in its third year. And I taught middle school English and social studies in rural North Carolina and loved it. It was a fantastic experience. I did practice law for a few years. I was a criminal defense attorney in Houston, Texas, but I missed teaching and just did not want to be a lawyer. So I retired for my legal practice and got a job teaching middle school English at a Catholic school in Houston, Texas, and never looked back. And from there, from the classroom, I went into school leadership and have been a part of school leadership at a number of independent and private schools. And then just, recently was looking for a new challenge. And, I've been just so fortunate to have this opportunity at Blanchet House. So it has not been the most linear route, but I think a part of it has always been involved in helping people and in helping people for whom there often aren't a lot of people out there helping them. So.
Thank you. I'm going to try to squeeze in two more questions. Martin, you're next, and then Angel.
Thanks for showing up today. I apologize about my video problems, but I was just wondering, two quick questions, hopefully. Do you guys have a lot of overlap with what is happening at the Bybee Lakes Hope Center?
So we make referrals back and forth with Bybee Lakes. Sometimes we have people who are looking to us for housing services that aren't quite a match for what we're doing. And so if they seem like a good match for Bybee Lakes, we'll make the referral there, and vice versa. Sometimes they're contacted by folks and it seems like Blanchet House or maybe even Blanchet Farm is a better match. And so we have a good back and forth relationship with Bybee Lakes. I do want to point out, if I might, that our housing programs are for men only. Co-ed programs aren't always in the best interest of the people that we're serving, and women in particular really benefit from an environment that doesn't have men in it. Of course, our meal service program feeds anybody who walks up to the door, and we are serving a lot of women in Old Town, particularly women who are struggling with exacerbated mental health and addiction issues. But we are launching a capital campaign next year to develop a women's program. We have a piece of property that we own on Northwest 18th. And so our hope is to convert that property into a residential facility for women. It'll be a long-term program, just like the programs that we operate for men. It's a wonderful location because it's on the same block as the Rosehaven Day Center, which provides amazing daytime services for women, and around the corner from William Temple House. And they provide services for men and women. They have a food pantry. They provide mental health services. So it's a great location for a women's housing facility because of the support network right there in the neighborhood. And it's not in Old Town. So just across 405 on Northwest 18th Avenue, a little bit removed from Old Town, provides a safer location, certainly for women.
That's exciting news, Scott. Angel,
Perfect.
we'll have one more, so Reed doesn't fire me. This will be our last question. And
Okay, I was going to ask a couple of questions, but what I wanted to know is, were you able to listen yesterday to Think Out Loud? I just happened to have the radio on, and he had this man on who talked about the real problem with homelessness is the addiction to meth. And it's not just the fact that we don't have housing available, it's that we have this enormous influx of an upswing of meth. And he said, and he also said that we're not going to be having a problem with heroin anymore. It's all going to be meth. So I wondered
No,
if
that I did not listen to the program yesterday, but I definitely will. I was on the same program a couple of weeks ago where I talked about my behavioral health team proposal that the county is now going to fund. You know, meth is the difference, right? And for people who've been doing this work a lot longer than I have, will say, you know, there's just a world of difference. It used to be alcohol, right? It used to be, you know, alcoholics, drunkards that Blanchet House served. And then, you know, you went through crack and cocaine to heroin, and they'll say you don't see anything like meth. And I read an article yesterday that said almost none of the meth that is available now in Portland is made locally. It's coming in from outside, from Mexico, and that there's a new strain of meth that seems to be really messing with people's mental and behavioral health. So all of this is terrible, terrible news. Of course, a lot of people who are homeless because of trauma in their life. And often they'll resort to substance abuse because, you know, the substances were a way for them to deal with the trauma and their anxiety and their depression. A lot of people who are homeless suffer from traumatic brain injury. You know, homelessness it's a drug problem, it's a mental health problem, it's a child abuse and domestic violence problem, it's a housing problem, it's a problem of inadequate support and care for veterans, as I'm sure Carol can talk about. It is such a complex and nuanced problem that that's what makes it so difficult to solve for. Because you can solve for one thing, but if we can't address the root causes of housing and food insecurity, then we're never going to drain the bathtub, so to speak. But yes, we are very worried about the news with regards to meth and meth abuse in our community.
thank you, Scott, so much. And Scott did put his email in the chat if you have any other questions. And Reed, I'm turning it back to you.
Thanks, Carol. And thank you so much, Scott. We appreciate so much you taking the time out of your day to be here with us today. And I hope that you come back as a guest anytime. You'd be more than welcome. And I think you would make a fantastic Rotarian.
Okay. Thank you all very much. I look forward. I want to thank you for this time and thank you for your interest and questions. Please reach out to me. My email address is there, or check us out on our website.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Next week, we will be meeting right back here, back on Zoom at noon on Tuesday, November 9th. Next week's presentation will be from Jay Lai, I believe is how you say that last name. I apologize for mispronunciation. However, this is an extremely impressive person, a former special operations bomb technician for the Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, and Green Beret. I'm excited. Okay, and don't think we're getting complacent. I cannot wait to be back in person, meeting with you all in person. We are in discussions. We will be making that happen as soon as possible. So don't think that that's going anywhere. And please don't forget, if you have a speaker idea, please reach out to Dev Dion, who is our chair of the program committee. We're always looking for great program ideas, and our programs depend on our members taking the initiative. All right, welcome back, Britton. Wonderful to have you back with us today. And a big thank you to Daniil for today's very thoughtful reflection. I'm gonna blow this quote, but something to the tune of, our most unfortunate day is somebody else's dream. Wonderful words, such a powerful message. Takes my brain to walking a mile in somebody else's shoes and having an attitude of gratitude. It all comes back to perspective. Thanks again to today's chair of the day, Mike Lester. And of course, thank you so much to Scott Kerman for your presentation today. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to share with us all of the great work that the Blanchet House and Blanchet Farm are doing in our community. It was really fun learning about all the different projects you have going on. Our members are always looking for ways to give back, and you provided us with several awesome opportunities to volunteer and make a difference in the community. Lastly, I'd like to thank everybody behind the scenes that help our programs run so smoothly. Thank you to Skylar, thank you to Carol, and thank you to everybody else that contributes to this production. And most importantly, thank you to all of our committee chairs and to our members for everything that you do. As we close today's meeting, let's all remember why we're here. We serve to change lives. Let's continue to focus on the lives that we change and continue to step up and do the right thing. Thanks again for joining. This meeting is adjourned.